Hello and welcome to the transcription explanation of this design. It was done using Loren Sherman's script, which uses a combination of dots and lines on these 4 different stems to make our consonants. And vowels are a bit trickier. They're these smaller circles, and they have different positions depending upon what vowel they are, and if they're attached on one of these 4 consonant stems here. So this diagram shows all possible combinations of vowel and consonant teams. So if we look at the A here, it's by itself just on the line of the word circle. So this is the word circle line, A by itself. And then we have a deep divot, or a B, because a deep divot with no modifiers is a B, with an A attached to that, and then a JA, because this is a circle inside the word circle, with no modifiers is a J, so JA, and then a shallow divot with no modifiers is a T, so TA, and then a circle on the line of the word circle is a TH with no modifiers, so THA. And similarly for the rest of them, that's what they look like. So, punctuation is not part of this design, so we won't really worry about that. But if there were a punctuation circle going around the sentence, which this is our only punctuation stuff here, the rest of it is all just lines and stuff. Anyway, let's go ahead and hop to this design. So this one is set up to be read loosely left to right, because if you imagine an infinitely large circle, the script is normally read bottom counterclockwise, but if the circle's infinitely large, that bottom counterclockwise just becomes a flat line, right? So left to right. So here's our first word. Bottom of it, this is our first letter. It's a circle inside the word circle with 1, 2, 3 lines. And then right in the middle of it, we have a small circle, which is a vowel. And that is an E right in the middle of that J stem. So M, E, then an A is our next letter. It's a small circle outside the word circle. So word circle line, A's are outside it. Continuing around, this is just a line coming from this letter. Then we have this stem. It's a shallow divot, so we're in this row, and it's got 1, 2, 3 dots. So that is an R. And lines that pass through don't count for anything. Only lines that end count for stuff. So this line ending here counts, and this line ending here counts. But again, this would count if it were punctuation and going to a punctuation circle, but it goes to a letter stem and it ends there, so it counts there. Anyway, continuing on, here's our last letter. It's another A, just like that one. So M-E-A-R-A is our first name. Here's our next name. Bottom of the word circle's here. Here's our first letter. It's an E by itself on the line of the word circle. And then we have another little circle, and it's got a line going towards the middle of the word circle. So that's an I. If it were going outwards, it would be a U. And these lines, they can curve, they can go straight. They don't have to go directly out. They can go out kind of at an angle. So this is an I because it's got a line going towards the middle. So E, I, then we have this stem, which is tricky because it overlaps with this stem, so it's hard to tell what dots belong where. But these 3 dots pretty clearly go with this one. These 3 dots are actually inside this stem here, and this is kind of my trickiest little bit here, with these 3 dots being part of this stem, and these 3 dots being part of that stem. But anyway, 1, 2, 3 dots on a circle inside the word circle is an L. Continuing around here, we have another I, just like this I, going towards the middle. And then we have a double stem. This line and this line are a double line, so it's a double letter. But the lines are 2 different thicknesses, so it's 2 different letters. So it's 2 deep divot stems stacked on top of each other. And we read the thin one first and then the thick one. And this thin one, all the lines pass through it, but there are those 3 dots I mentioned earlier, so that's a D. And then we have that thick one with 1, 2 lines, so that's an H. So that's our last letter here. So E-I-L-I-D-H is this name. And then we have this name here. Like I said before, these are only sentence circles. I put them here just to kind of make this one a little bit bigger in the middle and kind of flesh out the design. But if there was punctuation, it would go here. But there is no punctuation, so there's no punctuation marks on this sentence circle. But here's our first letter. It's a shallow divot with no modifier, so that's a T, with an E in the middle of that. So just by itself on the line of the word circle like that. So T, E. Well, it would be on the line of the word circle, except the word circle is erased because the stem is there. Unlike the A, which would be outside it still. So if that line continues around, A is outside, E is on the line or inside. So T, E, continuing around. This looks like a stem. It looks like it's doing that double stem thing here, but it's actually not because it ends here. It's important that these lines end here, and there's a noticeable difference in the curve of this stem interrupting those 2 lines, because these are just lines on that stem. And this is our actual letter stem here, this thick line. This thick line is an M, 1, 2, 3 lines on it, just like this 1, 2, 3 line M, with an E in the middle of it. Even though I said thick and thin matters on a double stem, if it's a stem and a vowel, then it's it doesn't. The vowel's always read second. So this M is still read before that E because that vowel rule trumps the thick thin rule of stacked consonants. So anyway, M with an E in the middle of it, M E. Then we have an S, 1, 2, 3 lines on that S, and then we have a G because it's got one line there ending on it. It's important that this line doesn't continue through, and it ends here, and it ends here. So that makes it a G with an E in it, and then an N, because it's got one line actually ending on it. Lines that pass through don't count. So T-E-M-E-S-G-E-N is our next name. Here's our next name, bottom of it. Here's our first letter. It's an A, just like that A and that A. A, continuing on B, no modifiers on that stem. E, A, outside the word circle. Then we have this deep divot with one line, so that's another G, just like this G, with an A on it. I, line going towards the middle, just like these I's. And then 1, 2, 3 dots on that L, just like 1, 2, 3 dots on that L. So A-B-E-A-G-A-I-L is our next name. And then our last name here, bottom, first letter, another M, 1, 2, 3 lines on that circle. And then an A, and then a T, I, line going towards the middle. 1, 2, 3 dots on this L, 1, 2, 3 on this L, just like that L. And 1, 2, 3 dots on that D, just like 1, 2, 3 dots for this D. And then an A. So M-A-T-I-L-D-A is our last name. So yeah, that's this design. I hope it makes sense, and I hope it fits wonderfully. I set this up to be to scale for the dimensions you gave me, and it should fit well within that. So yeah, bye.